All right, let's do it live on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. It's the great Z. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing very, very well, my friend. Doing well. The sun is back out, getting ready for a little, a nice weekend of good weather. And looks like might be the first time people can even go, hop into a pool or something of that sort. So, yeah, very excited. Doing well.
There's at any point, I could just, pass over in a trance during the course of the show. And while the back is still a disaster, that's not the root of it.
Are we not making
the
improvement?
landscapers are here.
Okay.
No improvement. In fact, worse. I'm about ready to just call it a day. Maybe just get a new back. Did Iron Man do that? Can you just get a new back, start to finish? I don't know. Maybe that's what I ought to try to do.
Yeah.
No, but because the landscapers are here, and it is intoxicating to watch them trim shrubbery. How precise they are. To watch them go over an evergreen and watch it fall. They don't have a measuring stick.
They're
Is
artists.
that a tape? No, they're artisans. They're just wafting the blades, and then it just falls in a cascading manner. It's quite stunning, I must say.
Gib A on the zero turn.
Yeah,
it's a
there's
thing
an
of
art
beauty.
to it.
It's an artist. It's an artist in the working with his medium.
It's all about the lines.
Yeah.
It's all about the lines. Straight lines.
Yeah, do you go straight? Do you go diagonal sometimes, Gibby?
Well,
do you plat it up? Do you get crazy?
You can't cut it the same back to back. See, you got to go forward. You got to go north south, or you got to go diagonal, or you got to go east west.
So you have like a rotation of patterns.
Yes, you don't want to cut the lawn the same way repeatedly.
This is so out of my
so when you see
out of my element. I'm like Donnie.
Donnie, way out of my element. Let me ask you this, Gibby. When you see people on, like at baseball stadiums, mow things into the outfield, do you understand how they do that?
A little bit. I'd like to know more.
Okay. I think that's
fascinating. My lawn to ultimately look like that.
Yeah.
Don't we think that maybe they're just going out there with a stencil and just darkening a certain part so that it looks natural, but it's not? I mean, some of the designs that are out there don't seem feasible to me. If there's anybody who's on a grounds crew listening who knows exactly how this is done, but in a football stadium we don't do that. You mow like every 5 yards would be one solid color, then a light, then a dark, then a light. You're talking the designs when they would put in like a logo, or they would put in, if the All-Star games there, the stars.
Baseball outfields.
Yes, in a baseball
the
outfield.
Stars.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Maybe a push. You might need a push. You might need a push mower for a little more precision.
But how are you getting a point? What mower does that?
How are you getting a point? That's a good point. Like, how are you getting a point and then to get it to stop precisely there, lift a blade?
So maybe the point's made by you go in one direction this way, and then you have to go on the two angles the other way to make the point. But I still feel like at some point we're running out of real estate somewhere to make this possible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again,
I'm equally
ignoramus.
When you see like that when they are mowed, there are no mow tracks. Now, like Notre Dame did this for a long time. Like it just looked all the same green. No pattern, no line, nothing. And how did they do that? That's pretty remarkable.
So that feels to me, I feel like maybe I have the answer. You go in one direction, and then you got to pick up the mower, drive all the way back around, and go right next to it in the same direction, and pick it up and go all the way. You're not back and forth. You're having wasted driving.
I've done that.
There you go. That's probably it. But they must also have some sort of, I just imagine, a blowing mechanism or something that to get rid of the lines even as you were going one direction. Because there'd be lines from wheels and there's nothing. It just looks
pristine,
flat green. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Really is.
Like a carpet.
Really is quite remarkable. As we get into the OBM Hot Topics, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. For all the X's and O's for your office, call 216-485-2000. Visit ohiobusinessmachine.com. Gibby, I have only seen like the homage T-shirt of this and like the old school imaging of this. But apparently today is the 47th anniversary of the 10-cent beer night at Municipal Stadium between the Indians and Rangers. So I've never done – what I'm about to read for you folks here right now is the most that I've ever read into this. I've seen the T-shirt. I've seen some of the video, and I think, boy, that had to end poorly. It did. as I'm about to find out. 25,000 fans. 60,000 beers were poured, a limit of 6 beers per purchase with no limit on the number of purchases made during the game.
That's right.
That doesn't seem like a great idea in retrospect. 50 police officers, not probably the best use of them on their workday. 19 streakers, 9 arrests, 7 people who visited the ER. During the game, Gibby writes, fans became heavily intoxicated, culminating in a riot in the 9th inning, which caused the game to be forfeited due to the crowd's uncontrollable rowdiness and because the game could not be resumed in a timely manner. My goodness.
By the way, the beers.
We watched
the dime beers were 3.2 ounces. Think about 60,000 beers. 3 ounces, 10 cents.
That's many an ounce. But Gibbe and I watched earlier. There was a tweet that went out about this, and we watched probably, I would say, it was about a 2.5-minute video with some it felt like very old school and some interviews from behind the scenes, and it's stunning to watch. I mean, no chance it would happen today. And I know Cleveland had Bottlegate as well, which changed bottles being with caps on them and what could be given or what you could take with you into the stands from a concession. Yeah. But that scene is just wild. I mean, there are all of a sudden everybody's on the field and players are walking around. Mike Hargrove, his introduction as a member of the Texas Rangers at the time, he's on the ground brawling with fans.
Yeah,
and then he would later become the manager of the Indians, the human rain delay.
Do you think that it was because wasn't this around the same time as didn't the White Sox do Disco Demolition Night that ended very, very poorly too?
I remember that.
I don't
not
know
live,
about
but
that.
I
remember
think
they did.
Hearing of that. I don't know what was worse,
their
Disco Demolition Night or their shorts, collared shirts, uniforms. I remember having a Harold Baines baseball card. I'm like, what is he wearing right now?
Such a bold move, wasn't it?
Oh.
All right, so Disco Demolition Night was 1979, Comiskey Park in Chicago. Ended in a riot, of course. At the climax of the event, a crate of Disco records was blown up on the field between games of a twilight doubleheader with the Tigers and White Sox. Many of those in attendance come to see the explosion rather than the games and rushed onto the field after the detonation. The playing field was so damaged by the explosion that the fans that the White Sox were required to forfeit the second game. Actually, it seems like ours was maybe a little worse.
I would say so. Right.
Oh, my God. 50,000 people were there.
Well,
they thought there'd be 20. There were 50.
Promotional event
like
admitted those with a disco record for 98 cents.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
I like those creative nights, though.
39 suspects. Oh, jeez.
When's the last time, though?
Oh, man. The 70s, brother. The 70s.
When's the last time a team, because of fans taking over the playing surface, did they have to forfeit a game? Well,
I think everything changed with the malice at the Palace. That changed everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, once that happened, everybody's like, "Whoa, that can't happen again. We have got to step it up. We can't allow for that to happen again." There have been incidents since of players going into stands, or it takes a lot of inebriation and a lot of lack of sense to go down to a field of play and try to get to a professional athlete. Like that doesn't happen very often. Another one that was in the 90s was Monica Seles. Remember that?
When you just said that popped in my head. She got stabbed sitting in her chair.
She was stabbed. She was stabbed. My God, yeah. And he was a Steffi Graf fan? Like
it was
crazy.
Something crazy like
reasoning.
That. Yes.
Insanity. Yeah. And she was number one in the world and was never the same, and you can't blame her for being. How could you ever go down there again? Yeah, it seems like we've just sorted those things out a lot since then, and there haven't been. Can you guys think of any recently where it's got? I mean, we've had this rash of incidents in the NBA, but we haven't had anything in terms of things spilling into stands or stands spilling onto fields of play that I can recall.
No, and I mean, I think anybody, you get the random streaker here or there who makes it out and apparently tries to do so for a bet at the Super Bowl. But no, when I'm on the sidelines, there are security people everywhere. You may not realize they're all security.
Everywhere.
They are everywhere, constantly looking, constantly scanning. Mm-hmm. Everything's on camera. You've got a lot of things, to put these type of things to make them impossible or as close to impossible as you can reasonably do.
I am always amazed that there hasn't been more negative incidents around college football field storming, because that's something that happens pretty regularly. And college basketball too, that you get a court storming and somehow they're able to get those teams off, and there hasn't been much, which is amazing. But there really hasn't been too many negative incidents that I've seen surrounding those things of the field and court stormings in college athletics. That's the best example I can think of recently of that. In the professional level, we really haven't had much. I can't think of anything in the last decade or so.
No, and it's kind of amazing because when we were talking about the NBA, you're on the wood. You're on the court. Like if you hopped, I'm looking at a picture of First Energy Stadium right outside our studio right now. If you hopped the barricade, even in the end zones, which is the closest point to the field, you got to hop down, and then there are security people, even just looking at this picture. In the end zone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 per end zone just standing there looking at the crowd while the game's going on.
They used to have streaker practice.
Oh, they do before the games. It's great.
Dave Spano would film it. We try to get Koulis to be the streaker. Like, you never know where it's coming from. I think Wags might have been the one videographer, famous Dan Wagner.
Yeah.
I think he might have been a participant one time. Like, they'll pull people.
Oh, God.
There was one I watched where they had a young kid who, I mean, he looked like Barry Sanders out there.
They couldn't catch him.
Could not get him. Couldn't get him. Couldn't get him. But my point is you have to go a long way. Somebody at a courtside in an NBA game who had ill intentions, I just feel like it would be real hard to stop them in certain situations because of the proximity. I mean, you are so close.
They have put in that sport, they have put the player, the fan, the closest to the player by a rather large margin.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else even close.
I guess
in
golf
sports
when
to
Phil
the
Mickelson
proximity.
ends up. I guess that would be the most recent is the golf. When
Yeah.
Phil was in that crowd.
And I don't understand that.
Koepka?
I'll never understood why they let them do that. I don't know why
let
they
them
let.
walk to
I've
the
never
green,
seen them
then you
let them do
open the
that.
ropes. You don't open the ropes while they're walking.
Right. No, that was crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
trying to hit those shots. It was absolutely crazy.
That was a scary scene.
Yeah, it was. I think the NBA would be the one that, that's the one where you can be so close. And we have had some incidents back and forth, but never. It's been since that time in the Palace we've had anybody actually go up there. Today's Ohio Lottery Keep It Fun poll brought to you by Ohio Lottery. KeepItFunOhio.com. Something around National Donut Day, Gibby asks. Also something around, of course, so Gibby. Something about LeBron being out of the playoffs.
Wait, did you guys say something about LeBron?
Yeah, Gibby.
Hold on.
A victory
Paulus.
On the money tonight for the Suns, 18 threes. That threes. And the Phoenix Suns have gone on the road after missing the playoffs for 11 consecutive years and beaten the defending champion on their home court in the first round.
Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns knock out LeBron James and the Lakers. First time LeBron's ever been knocked out in the first round after being 14-0. 113-100 is the final score. The Suns lead by as many as 29 and do not trail for even 1 second in this one and knock out the Lakers in 6.
Many people will look at this and say the Lakers championship window closes last night. How do you see it?
I don't see it closing. I don't see it as closing. I see it as closed. It's over.
Over.
No, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are not winning another championship in the LeBron James, Anthony Davis era, in my opinion.
Oh, gosh.
Welcome to Friday, kids.
Look at the.
I just want to say something real quick. How after that game does Ernie Johnson his comeback, Chris Paul and the Suns defeat LeBron James and the Lakers? Devin Booker.
Devin Booker did play.
Yeah, Devin Booker had 47, 15 of 22 from the floor, 8 of 10 from 3, 9 of 9 from the line, and basically has been their best player throughout the series. And
didn't he have 22 in the first quarter?
That's right. Indeed, he did.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that I would most identify with this Suns team, and not Chris Paul. Chris Paul is happy to be in the second round of the playoffs. That doesn't happen very often for Chris Paul.
No, certainly not. Gibbe's disdain for LeBron. It tells you how. It speaks to LeBron's greatness that he has been hated by Gibbe twice, and independently. Completely finds him loathsome on 2 different occasions. Probably was in love with him 2 times as well. He's basically the best girlfriend you ever had, Gibbe, who gave you a second chance, and you said, yes, this has all been a joke. I haven't hated you. You broke up with me. I'd love to bring you back. And then you brought him back, and he did it to you again. And here's the deal. If he came back again, you'd be in love again, baby. You'd bring it right back. Yes, you would.
I'm done.
Yes, you would.
I'm done.
Oh, yeah, sign up for more of what we've been dealing with. Come on.
Ugh. Holy moly. Not quite sure what's going on down there.
Well, it's how hard it is. It's how hard it is. Tough in that sport. Very, very difficult. Look, he is 36 years old. He's played, his 18th season?
Yes.
18th season. I don't remember people crowing when Kobe Bryant didn't make the playoffs in his last few seasons with the Lakers. I don't remember people crowing when Michael Jordan didn't make the playoffs. He played 2 years with the Wizards. I don't remember people dancing on his grave because he didn't make the playoffs. I don't remember that. Maybe it happened. I don't know. Doesn't know. Hard for me to understand. Here's the big deal with him. Anthony Davis played 5 minutes.
Well, yeah.
So that's a pretty big part of it. Anthony Davis and LeBron have missed 50 games this year between the two of them.
That's why they were the 7 seed.
Right. They were not the 1. They were the 7. They had to play in the play-in. And they basically they won the championship last year in the middle of October and then started a season in the middle of December. So their off-season was essentially 3 weeks is what their off-season was. Yeah. And they were in a bubble. So while the Suns stopped in the bubble in August, LeBron was there for 2 more months with the Lakers. So I think you'd be silly to say they're not going to win another one, Stephen A. It's L.A. It's the place that more people want to be on than ever before in that league. James Harden played for the Nets. Who had that a year ago?
Nobody.
But it is
in that league. They could have Steph Curry next year.
It has to be troublesome that Anthony Davis can't stay on the court. He missed 20% of their games.
That's the biggest thing is that his health issues go back to New Orleans, where look, it's hard for bigs to stay healthy, and it's possible that he just might not be healthy, and that would be the thing that would put an end to it if he can't remain healthy. But yeah, I'll tell you, you're looking at a West now. If Dallas can hold on, Phoenix, Dallas, Denver, Utah.
It's fun.
That's it. It's wide open.
Wide open. That Denver team's pretty good.
And they're doing it without Jamal Murray.
Right. When is he back?
Not.
He's
done.
Done for the year.
Yeah.
That puts a damper on them.
Yeah. No, Utah's playing really well. And then Dallas and Phoenix. And I think last thing on the NBA stuff, probably the player with the most impact of the last 25 years on how the game is played is Steph Curry. That's not going to make a lot of people happy around here, but it's true.
True.
The shot-making revolution that has happened in this sport. Last night the Suns hit 8 more threes than the Lakers. You just had Devin Booker at 8 of 10 from 3?
That's right, 8 of 10.
Okay. So, and they're not easy threes. Everybody knows who he is. Like, they're guarding him. But you can shoot it from anywhere.
Yep.
And the ability for guys to practice those shots from further and further out and to be able to hit them at that type of consistency is astonishing. And it's the biggest thing that's happened to the league since the advent of the three-point shot, in my opinion.
I agree, and it's I mean, when you watch the game, have you seen? I think we talked about this maybe last year is when I saw it, but the shot charts from
all
it's
and dunks.
It's dunks and outside the three, and that's it.
Yeah.
And when it used to be so much in the mid range, that was the mid range game was such a big thing.
Kobe, Michael,
it revolutionized the entire game, and when you're a team that can really shoot the three and you're hot from three, you can take anybody.
The thing that Curry did is he made it cool for superstars to shoot him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you think about Kobe, Michael, LeBron, like most of their career, Kobe and Michael especially, was mid-post game.
Totally.
It was mid-post, mid-range. That's it. They didn't shoot three. They'd hit threes, but not crazy.
No, they
didn't shoot them at a high percentage. Curry allows for Dame Dollar, allows for Devin Booker, allows for Doncic, allows for all these guys to shoot from forever. Trae Young. They shoot from forever, do it at a great propensity.
Yep. And
I think the only way you could fix it is if you get rid of the three. That's probably the only thing you can do if you want it to go back to a more flow, more offense, and that's probably the only thing you can do because they're only going to get better.
And you can't – it's not even a matter of if you moved it back a few feet. That doesn't matter to these guys.
Doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a single difference. They're just
no.
That's what it is. But that's what the game – I mean, I don't know what they're going to do.
And Curry did that.
Are you going to ban the three like they banned the dunk from Lou Alcindor?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think if there was they will never do that because I think people like the three. But if you ever wanted to get back to a true up and down, fast break, motion, offense
I don't
type
think they do.
Stuff that we probably not. If you ever did, you want to get back to the way the game was played in the 80s, then that's the only way is to get rid of it. Because as long as it's there.
What's better though than watching these guys when they're hot and they're doing these step back? Luka's step back it's beautiful. The thing about three-point shooters, to your point when you were talking about stars doing it, is that used to be a role player on your team. Craig Hodges would be your three-point shooter.
Horry.
Big Shot Bob.
Yep.
Kyle Korver. Reddick even later.
Kerr, Paxson.
Sure.
Yeah,
these guys were just there to be shooters. And then guys like Bruce Bowen, and he was kind of the forebearer of the 3-and-D guy who could play great defense, and if you left him alone in the corner, he could make a three. But now your stars are coming up, and frankly, once they cross half court, it could be going up.
Yeah, and that's Curry.
Oh, yeah.
That's his impact. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a remarkable one. Obsessing over something like football certainly can be a problem. If you're obsessing over gambling, it can be dangerous. Do something to take your mind off it. Find a hobby, perhaps. If you want some tips, go to keepitfunohio.com for great ways to keep gambling fun. Lots of fun on the program today. We'll take a look at the Houston Texans and their situation with the legendary John McClain will join us coming up at 2:30. We got a little Ask CBD on the program as well today. You have that to look forward to, which is very nice. Off and running on a Friday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Yep.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's
terrible.
looking forward to the weekend.
Terrible.
Friday,
Oh, it's not. Jeez.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
You are up.
This is absolutely terrible.
That is wrong, and it's hurtful. This is a great
Oh,
song.
gosh. Listen.
Are you not looking
if
forward
you
to the
wanna-
weekend?
You want a song to put you in the mood for the weekend? You get yourself a little Travis Tritt. Great day to be alive. That's how you send into the weekend right there.
Does he
it's
say
a great
mention
day
Friday?
to be alive.
Does he mention Friday all the time? No.
No.
She'll
'Cause
even
he's
walk
an
you
adult.
through the days of the week.
Oh, will she?
Yeah. I think she's like,
You talked to me about this a while ago, I remember.
Saturday comes
I was
afterwards,
unaware that
goes
this revolution happened.
oh my God.
I navigated life, was unaware of this until you played this, I want to say about a year ago or something like that. You played that, and this was like, you were all excited about it. And I was unaware that this happened, that this human existed, and that song
Black.
existed. Yeah, I was able to get around
It's been hard
it somehow,
for Rebecca
thankfully.
Black because she had this like big time fame, and then it's hard to maintain that. All right, I'm going to give you guys one guess. It was released 9 years ago. 9 years
Okay.
ago.
Yep.
How many views on YouTube does the original Rebecca Black Friday have? And there are tons of bootleg versions as well, but the original Rebecca Black.
275 million.
Okay. That's probably right if you add all of the versions. It's 153. Like, that's pretty solid.
Okay. That's
And
a lot,
9 years ago, people weren't – nothing had that kind of view 9 years ago. She just
What's
released
the number one? Is
3 months ago, she released a remix of it. Already 3 million views.
Okay. There you go. The people like it. Give the people what they want. If you're sick and tired of your outdated kitchen, this is what you want as a new one, and it's the perfect time to upgrade to a new and modern design. And to do so, you do it at Northeast Factory Direct. Cabinets, including all the upgrades, solid wood, full extension drawer glides, and cushion closed drawers and doors. Best part, the process is super simple. They make an appointment. You bring in some basic measurements, and the kitchen designers will walk you through the design on an interactive big screen so you can see how it will look. It's a huge win. Appointment and the design are free. There's no obligation. They'll let you take it with you. They also have 0% financing available. So if you're thinking about remodeling your kitchen, go to northeastfactorydirect.com and schedule your appointment today. This is from CBS Sports. The one non-quarterback each NFL team can't afford to lose to injury in 2021. I hate to even put things in these contexts.
Ugh.
The negativity.
Yes,
the negativity
we
terrifies
thrive on
me.
Positivity.
Glass is half full. I thrive on enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I'm an idea man. So Miles is the answer for us too. I mean, that would be that's the one. He's a top 10 player in the league. He's the one for me. Part of that is the incredible roster management throughout the rest of the roster where there's legit depth everywhere.
I mean, we've seen it 2 years in a row. When Myles Garrett has missed time or Myles Garrett hasn't been, last year he missed a couple games with COVID and then was, as he said, 50% the rest of the way. It's the most noticeable thing on our team. We now have, we have very good depth in a lot of different places. Defensive end is probably, although I love our top trio of Myles and Clowney and Tack, your fourth spot's Porter Gustin, Curtis Weaver is the battle there. That's the one spot that you do not necessarily have tremendous depth. And Myles Garrett is, we heard Pete Prisco. This is a top 10 player in the league. A top 10 player in the league. And so he is as irreplaceable as anybody on our team. He's a game wrecker. That's what he does. I mean, for the 49ers, losing Nick Bosa was devastating to their defense, although he was one of about 800 injuries that all happened at the same time. But Myles Garrett is the one guy that's irreplaceable. Now, Tack McKinley and Clowney, okay, still plenty of talent, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. Myles Garrett has been that good and I would say on the precipice of becoming the second most dominant defensive player in the league.
He just needs to play.
He needs to play 16 games.
Needs to play 17 games.
17 games.
Yeah, that's it. If that happens, then those things happen. Who would you have number 2 on our team?
I was really trying to go through that in my mind. I feel like we have a replacement for everybody on the offensive line. Would it be a step down? Obviously, Nick Chubb getting hurt. You've got Kareem Hunt. We thrived.
We won a playoff game without Bitonio, with a guy who nobody knew,
or Denzel, or Stefanski.
Right.
I mean, I think there's Miles, and I think he's probably number 1 on the list. I would say, and I haven't even seen him play a game for the Browns, but I'm guessing based on what we want to do, that John Johnson might be number 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about him too.
And Ronnie and Redwine, and I'll tell you what, Richard LeCount, I was watching some of his tape for our Browns breakdowns. Certainly doesn't look like a guy that would have made it to day 3 when you watch him on tape. I mean, he looks like
doesn't lack talent.
A legit athlete, very talented, make big-time plays in big-time games, captain at Georgia. I think the Browns maybe got a little bit of that might have been a nice steal there. But that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with, because if you think about how devastating Delpit's injury was last year to what Joe Woods wanted to do, John Johnson, I think, steps to the forefront of that this year in terms of what you want to do. He's the linchpin. He's the guy that they're expecting to play every single snap, I think.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that's probably it. One of the tackles would be very tough, but somehow we were able to do it. But I think it probably could be Johnson if he is what we believe he will be.
Yeah.
Coming up next, a little Ask CBD with Gibby.
Oh,
that's coming up next. A little gift for the kids on a Friday.
Gibby.
Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Let it live.
You know he's singing about making homemade soup
come on.
on a Friday. We're trying to get out and live in the summer, and we're having we're making
boy.
homemade soup.
Oh,
And I love
boy.
soup. Don't get me wrong. I'm a soup man.
It's a great day in their neighborhood to feel this good. Come on. What a hero. That's the hero you
Says
need.
nothing on Friday.
This is Cleveland, pal.
Says
We don't
nothing
need
on
this,
Friday.
whatever her name is, with the Friday nonsense. You got Travis Tritt living his best life.
Do you know that Saturday
Put
comes
that on the poll,
afterwards?
Gibby.
I don't know if you do.
What? Pick one of the two?
Yeah. Now I'll lose because Gibby's got Z's got minions by the billions.
No.
By the billions, he's got minions.
I will
zero
throw up the
So
bad
many
signal
minutes.
to even this out.
It should lose.
You're going to win this by a landslide.
I don't think so.
Oh, please. Please. You'll do one of your leading tweets.
No, I'm not even
and
going to
then
tweet about
it's
it.
over. Your people will come. You do cameos.
I'm not invested
Come on.
I'm not invested in Rebecca Black's success in this poll in any way, shape, or form. It's just a great song on a Friday. That's all. Travis Tritt's song.
Oh, boy.
That song goes. You can play that any day.
No, it's that's a head to the weekend, boy. That's what that is.
It's a little
That's
slow.
a head
I
to
want
the
my
weekend.
weekend to have a little more pace to it, a little more excitement.
A little soul, little
that
heart,
felt to
little
me,
heart, little
that
soul.
almost felt to me like Sunday night after a great weekend, and I'm sitting out, on the porch. The sun's coming down. I have my cocktail. I'm going to wind up the weekend, make a little homemade soup, help myself recover for the Monday. That sounds like a Sunday evening song.
Your approach to the Friday is much like the guys from Jersey Shore, like Jim Tanning Laundry, Jaeger Bombs, Heineken's.
I mean, no Jaeger bombs, but yeah, sure, some GTL, of course.
GTL.
And then Saturday,
okay.
you
so
really,
there's the disconnect. That's the disconnect.
Friday night's the start. Saturday is the full day, and then Sunday, you like to have a brunch, maybe a nice day. But then by the afternoon, the evening, you're just kind of winding it down. You're gonna have a nice cozy meal and a little comfort food.
Yeah.
Maybe a homemade soup, as he referenced in that song, and you're gonna just kind of feel good and enjoy that moment because when you wake up the next day, it's a Monday, and we're back to the grind.
You're right back at it.
Yeah.
You're 48 hours
like-
first Friday.
What's the question?
That's a great Sunday afternoon song.
What's the better
tremendous
Friday
Sunday
song?
evening.
What's the better heading into the weekend song? Friday by Rebecca Black or Great Day to Be Alive by Travis Tritt?
What about what were those guys? I can't think of their name right now. What about like shot.
What's
shot,
the
shot,
better
shot,
heading into
shot,
the
shot,
weekend
shot,
Friday
shot.
song?
Everybody. Yeah,
That's
a
right.
Great song.
Yeah, I'm looking for Americana on a Friday, man. I'm gonna crack open a Coors Yellow Belly and have the time of my life.
Oh,
I don't need
Jeez.
to get inst on a Friday. That's not where I'm at. Yeah, I'm not that guy. I never have been. You were that guy though, huh? I know you were. Because you do the dances.
I like a Friday, and I don't mind getting out on the dance floor and
yeah,
dance
you
a
can
little bit, but
dance it up a little bit.
I like Friday night is usually a little bit more low key. Saturday is the day of great fun and celebration. Sunday, I love a good Sunday brunch. Who doesn't? Maybe a Bloody Mary, and then maybe a little pool time. And then by the evening, though, that's when I'm winding it down, and that's when I'd like to sit there maybe with a John Daly or your drink of the summer with the that involves the vitamin water. And, then you're just kind of settling it down. I mean, anybody who says make a homemade soup, nobody makes a homemade soup for a Friday night. That's the lyric right there. That's the lyric. That's the mic drop lyric. You're not making a homemade soup on a Friday night.
It's a mindset. It's the mindset that you're going for.
Right, exactly.
I'm not. I could. I'm sure. Should I pull up the Rebecca Black lyrics and see what type of prose we have in here?
Yes, great prose. That's why I said you're going to get a layout of the week. You got choices to make.
Oh my! Oh, this is really how it starts. Yeah.
Well, that's just
arc.
It starts with 7 a.m. waking up in the morning.
Yeah,
gotta be fresh. Gotta go downstairs. Listen to this. She gives you your morning routine. Gotta have my bowl. Gotta have cereal. Seeing everything. The time is going, ticking on and on.
Cereal.
Everybody's
She's
rushing.
not even healthy. At least we're
13.
eating soup.
She's
Soup's
13.
Healthy. Can't eat cereal.
She's got to get
we're
down
grown men.
to the bus stop. Got to catch my bus. I see my friends. Then she goes kicking in the front seat, sitting in the back seat. Got to make my mind up which seat can I take. And then we get to Friday. It's Friday.
So
got to get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday,
Sure.
getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward. Partying. Yeah, partying.
Yep.
Yeah, Fun, 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 for funs. Looking forward to the weekend. Now,
I'm going to tell you what. This song is perfect for Black Cobra, my 9-year-old. Like, this is his mindset.
Hold on, but wait.
I'm a grown man. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Just wait
this
for
ain't
this
gonna hit
set
for me.
right here. In case you're confused, listen to this lyric.
All right.
Yesterday was Thursday. Today is Friday.
So
so excited. We so excited we gonna have a ball today. And then this is where I think the discussion ends for you.
Okay.
The next set of lyrics. Remember, yesterday is Thursday, today is Friday, been established.
Yep.
Tomorrow is Saturday.
Okay.
And Sunday comes afterwards. I don't want this weekend to end. I mean, you're getting 4 days of the calendar. Notice she knows better than to go back to Wednesday. She doesn't even know what that day is. It's omitted.
Doesn't even know what that day is. Can't
Omitted.
count that far, yeah. Who knows? Unbelievable. All right, Gibby, ask CBD.
So here's my concern. I don't have the ability to get Travis Tritt and the song title in. I only get 25 characters. So I put Great Day to Be Alive, TT. Does that work?
How many characters do you have left to use?
None, if I do that.
Oh, but so it's only 2. You can only use 2.
I get 25 characters per web poll line.
King Stefanski said we need football back bad. Listen, King, this is important. I like what Kurt Williams said, Working for the Weekend by Loverboy, total blue-collar Cleveland song debato. That's a good song. Everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
I
think you just go with the lyric.
Also
then you don't need the – that's fine. You don't need the – I think the title will stand on its own.
Gibby's face is on Rebecca Black from Brown's Therapy. That's
Brown's
what we
Therapy
needed.
on it.
That's what we need.
He did one yesterday. He sent me a DM of me and Bootsy as Fonzie and Little Fonzie.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic.
Pretty good. That was good. All right, Gibby. Get your poll out. Let's do the SCBD fun.
All right. Here we go, gentlemen. Real quick, first and foremost, Nicholas Lucarelli tweets at the show at Browns_Daily using the hashtag AskCBD. Nathan, please let Beau know that Luka's ability isn't because of Steph Curry. It comes from Dirk Nowitzki. What say you, Bishop?
Right. Thankfully, he cleared that up for me, that I wouldn't have known that a European would be potentially would look up to somebody like Dirk Nowitzki, who plays at the same franchise as him.
And I didn't say he learned his game from Steph Curry. I just said
I think he was coming at me.
People like
he
this.
He was coming at Bishop.
Curry influenced all those guys.
He did.
And by the way, Luka Doncic doesn't play a whole lot like Dirk Nowitzki.
No.
Dirk Nowitzki hit a ton of mid-range shots. He was famous for dribbling to the elbow, hitting that little one-foot-up back fade. Always shot that shot. He could hit threes, for sure, but not the way they shoot him now. Thank you for clearing up, though.
Mike Paris tweets at the show, Beau is so much more on point. Travis Tritt is feel good. That teeny bob nonsense the girl likes reminds me of an 11-year-old's pool party.
Well, she's 13. Listen, I have no problem with the vibe of the trip. What I'm saying, the vibe says Sunday evening to me. That's all. It's a great song for its time and place, just like the dude was the man for his time and place in Big Lebowski. But if we're talking about making homemade soup, that's got nothing to do with Friday, unless it's the dead of the winter and you can't go anywhere anyway. I'm sorry.
Your
that one
argument
lyric
is unless it says Friday, it can't be about Friday?
No. Wrong.
Unless
That's
it
not what I'm
literally
saying.
lays out the week for a 12-year-old?
As John McMahon, it says, I'm going in trying to go in the weekend with a smidge of Nathan Zegura enthusiasm. I'm not making soup. Soup's for Sundays.
Yeah, sad. Well, we'll see. We put it on the poll.
It's on the poll.
Listen, there are a lot of people who are just going to – Rebecca Black, there was a Vice documentary made about the fact she made the least popular song of all time. I realize it is in many ways a mockumentary-style song. Travis Tritt is a serious artist. He's won awards for his artistry.
Early returns have Travis Tritt up 60% to 40%.
He's going to win. It's just not a good Friday
Minions
song.
will come on. It'll be fine.
What's the name of this song? I got to dive more into these lyrics. Today was a good day. That's Ice Cube. Better song anyway.
Go ahead. We've done this. Go, Gibby, go.
Logan
Next.
tweets at the show, in celebration of Myles Garrett's retirement, who would be the starting 5 of the Cleveland Browns basketball team?
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Do you have the? Do you? No, I'm done.
I need one more question.
Who is our guy who played in Cuba?
I need one.
Who's our guy who played in Cuba? Not Cuba. Who's in the South America?
Mexico?
Fells.
Fells. Gosh, we don't have Fells.
We were just talking about him the other day.
Fells. He was unbelievable. I don't have a good feeling on this because we haven't seen these guys in the building. My hunch is Baker could play some guard. That's my hunch, that he could play some guard. Myles could play the 4.
Yeah.
Malik McDowell's like 6'6", 6'7". I feel like he
was
was
first team All-State in basketball.
Really.
Fields was.
So he's our starting 3.
Fields was a very good high school basketball player as well, I believe. But Owusu-Cormo was first team All-State. Said he's like Andre Iguodala. That's his comp. He was a defender.
So he's
slasher
okay.
who
So
could
he's your
shoot.
starting 3.
Yeah. I have to imagine. I feel like the chief.
What about-
the chief? Might be a nice dunker. Guy's got a.
What about
80-inch
Hoop?
vertical.
I bet Hoop can ball.
Yeah.
I bet Hoop's got a sneaky
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. He's got some Kevin McHale.
I bet he can. Yeah.
Bill Laimbeer.
I bet he can hit. I feel like he'd have some. I feel like he'd be
Batonio,
crafty.
wasn't Batonio a stud in basketball in high school?
Yes. Pretty good ball player.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Well, that doesn't go. I mean, yeah. You had such a good feel about it before. I don't have a good feel about it. We haven't seen these
we
guys
had like
in so
guys
long.
like when we had McCown running around. Yeah, you had a great feel about it.
All right. I'll get to this one because I took a lot of flack from my hosts. And in all fairness, Mark Wozniak, I owe you this for the boys.
Yeah.
What is your and Uncle Beau's favorite incredulous Gibby moments? Example, Wednesday night taped, injury-prone Matt Stafford, dead, text, no shame in my game.
No, it's all
The
Wednesday night
injury-prone
taped.
Matt Stafford was really good, but Wednesday night taped is if you think of the Mount Rushmore moments on this program,
That's on there.
that's George Washington.
Yep. Wednesday night taped is the answer. I
I
mean,
don't
guess
know.
the stats with
I'm
Gibby had a great
I'm fairly
run.
confident us having a conversation with you two in studio about Denver and celebratory moves might be
Well,
right up there on that's a top 4 as well.
Dick Winters.
The problem was that was one that was said, and then I don't know if it was replayed or rehashed or relived. Where Wednesday night taped has been run back.
Oh, so many times. And
There's
it's
the video evidence of it.
People
is
love it.
so compelling.
people still
It's
tweet
so
about
compelling.
it. I get tweets on a First Friday that people are headed to New
Yeah.
York for the show.
Wednesday night taped. Yeah.
For Wednesday night taped. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good
No,
job
they
by them
don't.
going.
Can I just say one thing real quick? Nobody needs to respond if you want to move on.
This
Okay,
is like
go
the
ahead.
third time you're like, hey, I've got
Go
one
ahead.
I got
more
one
thing.
question.
I
'cause
got one more
just-
thing.
I
You
pulled up,
read the entire lyric to a Rebecca Black
Well,
song.
just the important
Go
ones.
ahead. Go one more time.
Do
Just
you-
one more thing.
Do you know the
Go ahead.
first line to this song that is the greatest Friday song ever? That you of your
I think
choice?
he's got rice cooking in the microwave. Is I think what he's got going.
Yeah,
And
I
a
got
3-day
rice
beard or
cooking in the
something.
microwave. That's the
The
opening
point is
line of
he
the
has
song.
nothing going for him, but he's doing all right.
I've got
And
a
it's good-
3-day
it's a great day
beard.
to be
I don't
alive.
plan to shave.
He says, "I know the
Yeah.
sun's
Ah.
still shining when I close my eyes, still shining, implying again that it's the afternoon. This is a great Sunday evening song." It's in the lyrics. You just follow. He's leading. The crumbs are there.
It's
I've
not
been
there.
on a little bit of a bender. I'm hurting. I got rice in the microwave, homemade soup to try to heal me. The sun's still up.
It's a great
Even when
day
I
to be
close my
alive.
eyes, I'm fine.
It's a great day to be alive.
Some hard times in the neighborhood, Daddy.
That's right. It's a mindset. a way of life.
Ice cream savant. I'm intrigued as to what makes you an ice cream savant, but it can be a great day to be alive any day, more appropriately played while in the midst of the weekend, not leading into.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
What else do I have here? Tyler Light. I don't think we got to this one last week. I need to know Nathan Zegura's low round. I'll give him 2 aside at Firestone CC for a pair of 50-yard line tickets.
Yeah. Okay. This guy's on a tour. This is a real golfer.
Come on. What are we doing?
is a real
we
golfer.
can't do that.
2 aside, please. Give me a shot. He's an accomplished. He has his own website. Go check it out. This is an accomplished golfer on one of the junior tours, but he's on a tour. He plays in events for money.
How many aside would you need to feel like you could go? Give it a go.
Against a guy that's going to be shooting in the 60s repeatedly, I would probably need.
Because he's going to shoot and you're going to be playing tips.
Yeah, I'm saying I want 5 aside. That's how big of a difference it is between a person like myself and somebody as good as Mr. Light.
Yeah. So like how many strokes does it change for you if you play the tips or play member?
It's like a shot.
That's it.
Not much,
So you shoot 72 or 73. Okay.
I'm gonna shoot 75, 76. Let's keep it right in the mid 70s. That's where I am more often than not these days.
Playing Firestone? I mean,
he's gonna shoot
maybe he's not shooting in the 60s at Firestone.
Go look at his. Click on his Twitter handle, then click on his website, and that's a man that looks like he knows guys. He's got golf shoes, he's got golf pants, he's got a golf belt.
Golf shoes.
Okay, no.
That's
just because you wear it doesn't mean that you can sling it.
No, it says
he's
got his list of his accolades. He's a real golfer.
I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but like if you're playing Firestone, maybe you're not shooting in the 60s. Maybe he's a little closer.
But maybe
to
I'm
70.
shooting in the 80s.
We just had the
landscapers
here, and they were doing the shrubbery.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, they did the mulch, and the mulch is laid out like just manicured, like it's perfect. So I look outside right now, and the blonde's watering flowers. I swear to God, I'm making this stuff up. Look at him. Can you see him?
In a Star Wars
Wave
shirt,
Bootsy.
legend Bootsy.
Yeah.
What a legend.
So he, in the perfectly manicured mulch, turns on the hose and just starts blasting the mulch everywhere. He's acting like he's watering things. Not doing anything. Just wreaking havoc. Just wreaking havoc. That's what he wants.
Legend. It's such
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Oh, are you on the injured list? We can help get you back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO today for a free case review. Elk & Elk, a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll go around the league coming up next. Included in that, Amazon could be making a big play for a play-by-play voice that you certainly know. Oh. We get to that coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. My friends, love your home again this summer. Call the pros of Perfect Power Wash. Finally, you can get outside, enjoy time with family and friends for barbecues, parties. Don't let your dirty home be a distraction, whether it's your siding, your roof, your driveway, your deck, your patio. With over 20 years in business, PPW, the experts on restoring your home's curb appeal and making your neighbors jealous. Don't spend time in the hot sun lugging around a heavy power washer all weekend. Just get a fraction of the results. The process is super easy. Takes about 5 minutes on the phone to book. And now I have the cleanest home on the block. And so does Z, by the way.
That's right.
Don't put it off any longer because it's sparkling. Due to high demand, the schedule is filling up fast. Call them today, 888-860-WASH, and show your home some love. Use the promo code BEAU to get 10% off on that. As we go around the league here on a Friday edition of the program. Hey, did you see this from Amazon that they are looking for play-by-play? They will be the home of Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And are looking for play-by-play voices. Al Michaels at the top of that list. Joe Buck as well. And initially, you say to yourself, well, geez, you're not going to give up Sunday Night Football or the Sunday night game of the week or the Super Bowl for Thursday Night Football. But then you look at the company that owns the rights to Thursday Night Football, and you think they seem to have a lot of money.
Boy, do they.
I wonder what they could pay me to work 10 weeks a year.
A lot. And
Probably a lot.
I'm not sure that it precludes Sunday Night Football because Buck and Aikman would do, and Nance and Romo would do some.
But that one, it was a Fox production.
Right.
Right, Gibby? Is that what you were going to say?
No. What I was going to say is, that's why Tirico was doing some of those Thursday nights when NBC had Thursdays the one year, because Michaels did 1 week where he did Thursday and Sunday and was like, I am not continuing to do this.
Yeah. Al's approaching 80, too.
That's one thing. But now when you're talking about Amazon enticing you to do that for 10 weeks out of the year, that might be a different situation altogether.
What if Amazon says, we just want you to be the voice of Thursday Night Football, stop working for Fox or NBC, and just do this, and we'll double your salary?
I'm available, Amazon.
That's the thing with them, and it didn't happen this year in the television rights deals. I think the way that we thought that it would, because the NFL is still so traditional in its approach to TV rights, and the traditional companies still have the money to pay a lot and make it worthwhile. Yeah. But a true bidding war, there's 6 companies that run America right now, man. They have all the money, and Amazon is at the top of the list. So if them, Apple, Google, Facebook, if they want to get into things, they can do whatever they want.
They've got the pocketbook to do so. Deep pockets. Yeah, they can make whatever offer they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were Amazon, would you – well, let me ask you this. Have you ever watched a game because of the announcer?
No, but I do like the environment that certain announcers create for the game. You know when you hear a certain voice that this is a big game. This is a game of consequence.
They're synonymous. But has a big game ever been ruined for you by an announcer?
Ruined,
yes.
No. I won't say ruined, but I will say good announcers most certainly enhance the experience. And there is a difference in the ultimate experience from a good announcer to an average announcer to a run-of-the-mill announcer. I think that it absolutely enhances.
I don't have a problem with that.
In the sport of kings, professional wrestling, it definitely makes a difference who's on the call.
He's got to tell a story. He's got to sell it.
Sure, but there's also I think there's some of that. There's not necessarily selling it, but telling the story is a big part of I think what the broadcast did. Nance, Michaels, Buck, right now that's the trio, right? For our
well, they get all the
sport,
big games. So the question becomes, and I think all those guys are great. I'm not somebody who thinks any of those guys are bad. I think they're all great, but they also get the biggest stage. So they're synonymous with it, and then so you associate greatness with them because they get the best game every week. So that's the other thing of that. And there's a guy who does Big Ten Network football who's the voice of Madden, Brandon Godden.
Yeah, he's great.
Who does he's awesome, but I don't know can he, like if you put Brandon Gaudin on Amazon Thursday night and you're just watching the game, is it that much different than Joe Buck?
If he's good, but let's go back to Monday night a couple of years ago. That wasn't the right mix, and it did detract from the game. You know?
Well, they had a guy in a deer stand with wheels.
Not even forget that, but even Test, that was not the right. He wasn't the right guy for.
I think
the NFL.
Yeah, that was something because he was so good at college football, and I think he could have done. I think he could have done the NFL. I just think that whole group together, it appeared none of them knew each other or had any chemistry.
Yeah,
and you can't do that.
No,
I think the other problem is some of those Thursday games aren't the Sunday night football game.
If I'm Amazon,
it's not the 4:00 game. It's not the number 1 game or number 2 game. Sometimes you can get some real dogs on those Thursday nights.
If I'm Amazon, what I would say is Nance is Nance, Michaels is Michaels, Buck is Buck. What's the next great team that we can give a real home to and try to make a thing out of them, like turn them in? Because I think Ian Eagle and Charles Davis could become the next great broadcasting team in our sport, and maybe you use that as a vehicle for them to have a prominence where everybody in the country is hearing them every week, and I think that gives them I think it would be more valuable that way to create, the fourth team.
Yeah.
Because those guys
I
are
don't
good.
know that. I think if you're looking for people who are really good at calling bad games, Herb Street and Fowler are really good at calling bad games. They've had to call a lot of them. And that takes that they've known each other a long time. They have a great chemistry, and they do a nice job of that. And they've had to call bad games because they get lopsided stuff on Saturday nights a lot.
See, and I think Fowler is one of those guys that detracts. I'm not I love Fowler when he was the ringleader for Game Day. I don't, as a play-by-play guy.
I won't argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely takes It's been interesting as he's found his way, and he was replacing Musburger, which is tough, really, really tough to do. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Ex-Colts defensive back Malik Hooker visiting the Steelers. He's one of those. I loved him in college. Just can't stay healthy. Just cannot stay healthy. I saw this yesterday as well. This is pretty remarkable. The Bears supposedly told Andy Dalton he's the Week 1 starter no matter what. And I can't remember which former NFL player said that. But I saw the tweet from, it was like an Orlovsky, one of those types. Could have been McAfee. That said, as soon as this is told, then I no longer listen to the coach. Because if you're predetermining a quarterback without letting a competition play out, then you've lost. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, you
can't do that.
You got to let it play out. Let the chips fall where they may. Now, if you make an organizational decision that we are going to groom Justin Fields, we are going to take him along slowly like the Browns did with Baker Mayfield a few years ago, like the Chiefs did, which is a much more extended version with Patrick Mahomes. That's maybe what he's trying to say and do. The difference is Alex Smith had just taken, that team to the playoffs. And in our situation, we had just been looking for any kind of stability. I think we were coming off of, a winless season. So you're looking for something, Tyrod Taylor taking a team to the playoffs. Now, Dalton has as well, but it's been a while. And perhaps they're saying we were in a playoff team last year. This isn't a total rebuild. Let's just give Andy Dalton a chance, and when Fields is ready, he'll play. But our approach is he'll be a starter. I just think when you make those kind of declarations at this time of the year,
stupid.
It's just not worth it. Now, when you get to training camp and you say we're giving Andy Dalton's our starter, he's going to get all the ones. It's not a competition. This is how we plan to do it.
But even that I don't understand. Why are you giving a guy who is not the future of your franchise all the ones? You know what Andy Dalton is.
All right, so
you know exactly what he is.
What would you say about the way the
What's
Chiefs
the point?
did it?
It's a little different because Alex Smith was established and they won with him.
The
most
correct.
apples to apples is honestly when Tyrod was here. That's the apples to apples.
Been
where
to the playoffs.
Baker didn't.
Right. New quarterback.
Right, but Tyrod was new, came in here.
Yep.
Tyrod's the guy. No matter what, he's the guy. And then what if Tyrod doesn't get hurt against the Jets that day and Baker doesn't come in? Pretty big difference between Baker and Tyrod.
Clearly. Clear.
right? So,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? And that's what I feel about here. Like, look, if the kid's the kid, your job. My view, I guess, if I was the McCaskey family and I owned the Bears, I would say that the job of the Chicago Bears coaching staff is to put Justin Fields in the best possible position to succeed. Now, that might not be playing, but that kid wouldn't miss a rep.
I don't disagree with that unless it is clear that he's not ready, which you would know
Unless he's terrible
after a little
and then
while.
you've blown it.
Right.
Yeah, and then you've blown it. So, this was pretty interesting as well. Brian Flores downplayed. Tua Tagovailoa apparently admitted that he didn't know the playbook in 2020.
As well as he would have liked. Yeah. It's when you read it, it was a little concerning to me, honestly. And we've had our concerns about him. I think Flores handled it masterfully. I will say that. I think that his comment that, my first year as a position coach, I was significantly better in year 2, and I didn't know it as well as I would have wanted to. But I thought it was a pretty stunning admission by Tua, and one that maybe is not necessarily good for public consumption. I don't see who it benefits to have that out there, unless he's trying to say, well, that's why it wasn't as good. But your job as a quarterback, that is your job. To learn the playbook, learn how to run this offense. And it needs to be your lifestyle. And it needs to be what you think about when you're waking up during the day, going to bed, is how you can be the best quarterback that you can. That starts with complete knowledge and command of the playbook. And being with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I would have to imagine that was one of the first things that Ryan Fitzpatrick imparted upon him. So it's kind of a stunning admission that that's the case.
It sure is. And Fitzpatrick is famous for being incredibly giving to young quarterbacks. That's part of the reason he's been around so long. And his effectiveness, of course, has a lot to do with that too. But he's an incredible teammate and incredibly giving with young quarterbacks. He's played with a lot of them. So the idea that he was like, no, I'm good, is not great. Not great, Bob.
No.
Hey, Cleveland, summer's almost here. Stock up at Meijer on the top picks like Bounty, Tide, Old Spice, and Crest. They're in stock and available. Plus, this week, save over $100 on P&G brands with M-Perks. Place your order in the Meijer app today. We will continue our tour around the NFL with a little visit down to Houston in what is as much of a rebuilding as you'll see in short order. This is... No one would have thought this a year ago. That's how quickly this thing has fallen apart. We get to that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. sure to catch the latest edition of the best podcast available. It's out today wherever you get your podcasts or by going to the youtube.com/Browns. New Browns defensive tackle Malik Jackson joins the Ibs boys on this week's episode of the program as we continue our tour around the team camps in advance of mandatory and through the OTA portion. And we'll have the general, John McClain, will join us. I got a million questions for him. I want to and he doesn't pull any punches, so
no.
I'm fascinated to see where this one goes. But Gibby has some categories for us here to go through. And the first one, okay, so full transparency, I have not looked up their roster.
Don't look at the roster. Zegura, don't you even look at it.
I know the answer to this, I think, without even looking at their roster.
Who's the best player on the Texans not named Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Laramie Tunsil.
Who's the best skill player on the Houston Texans not named Deshaun Watson?
It's probably only a two-horse race, but the two horses would be Brandon Cooks and David Johnson.
I forgot he was still there.
But now they've added Philip Lindsay. They've added Mark Ingram for some reason.
18 running backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. You think about where this organization was a year ago at this time.
Yeah.
Well, before the DeAndre Hopkins trade, to what they are now. Like, you knew as soon as the DeAndre Hopkins trade was done that that's not going to end well. It was just lopsided immediately.
It's wild.
And now you look at them, and Deshaun's not going to play. I don't know what's going to happen there. Who knows? We'll ask John. That it's of an expansion team.
It is a pretty remarkable roster. I'm just going to read a series of names to you, and you tell me what they all have in common.
Okay.
Taywan Taylor, Roderick Johnson, Pharaoh Brown, Tyrod Taylor, Dontrell Hilliard, Vincent Taylor, Christian Kirksey, Tay Davis, Money Mitch, Tavier Thomas.
Could have saved that one. I knew the exercise. You don't have to read his name. You could say defensive back from Oregon who shall not be named. I mean, you don't have to salt the wound like that.
Tavier Thomas, Eric Murray. I mean, I feel like I just named 12 people.
A lot of guys we've had on Cleveland Browns Daily in that group.
Jeez,
a lot of regulars.
Money Mitch was probably the answer to the first question. Best player on the team, not Deshaun Watson. Sorry, Tunsil. Money Mitch.
Yeah. With all due respect.
With all due respect.
No, it's a bad roster. It's an absolute bottomed out, down to the screws roster. That's what it is. I don't know why they have 100 running backs. I have no idea what they're doing. I mean, I think I do. I think they're trying to go 1-16 and pick number one, whether that's the kid from Carolina or the kid from Oklahoma. I mean, is there anybody who else is on in this vicinity?
Think Deshaun Watson will never play another snap for the Houston Texans?
I don't think Deshaun Watson will play a snap for the Houston Texans this year.
Okay.
And I think it's more likely than not that he never plays another snap for them ever.
You think he misses this entire season?
As we sit now, I mean, there's so much unresolved. I don't even know where to begin, and it would be silly for me to make a big, broad proclamation because I'm not following it day to day.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to do that. But based on following it from 30,000 feet, hard to imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Greatest Texan of all time, JJ.
JJ Watt. Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time All-Pro. JJ.
Yep. Hoff. Yep.
Yes. I think Andre Johnson will be a Hoff, too. I think Johnson, Watt, and I think DeAndre Hopkins has a chance to be a Hoff as well.
Deshaun Watson, too, for that matter. He's on to a good trajectory. If he can.
Yes.
Right. All right, here's one. Gibby wants to know, is the fact that the Titans retained the Oilers' history and the NFL agreed to retire the brand truly one of the NFL's biggest mistakes in their history? From a branding standpoint, yes.
From a branding standpoint, absolutely.
It's a critical error, and it's an incredibly petty move out of Titans ownership that not only will they not let them wear the Oilers, they own the color.
Yep. It's
so there's
ridiculous.
that color of blue. That whatever that color of blue is, and there's a name for it, that color of blue cannot be worn by anybody but them. They own that color. Now, that wouldn't preclude them from – that wouldn't stop Houston Texans from going baby blue and red. I mean, they could still do that. They go a different shade. But that specific blue, which was awesome,
which is great,
cannot be worn. Yeah.
Great.
And that's shameful. And I never thought of how ridiculous it is to be a Texan until you took such umbrage with it.
It's absurd.
And it's a stupid nickname.
It's absurd.
It really is. It is. Yeah, it's bad. Oilers is just give it to them. What do you care? You're the Titans.
What
You're not
do
going to
they
use it
care?
anyway.
Right, and they're getting
What do you
darker and
care?
darker blue anyway. They've almost eliminated the color.
Yeah. Gibby wants to know, when you go to Texas, now, this is interesting, Gibby. When you go to Texas, are we saying when you go to Houston or when you go to Texas?
I guess I have to put Houston because Houston is the theme here.
Because I think it's different. I think when I would go to Houston, I would probably try to find some seafood. I'd probably try to go to Papa Do's and find a little seafood is what I would probably do in
That's
Houston.
the place you like. The only road
You're
trip.
close to the water. Your proximity to the Gulf is close.
Yep.
So if I'm Dallas, then, you can you're right off the feedlot.
Yep.
Grab a steak. But if I'm Houston, I'd probably go that way.
I think that's fair. I had a great sushi dinner in Houston, which is neither here nor there.
Oh, I bet you.
Boy, it was
I
a
bet
treat.
you did.
That was a fun night.
Yeah. Did you see that video going viral yesterday based in Houston?
No.
I thought maybe you did, which is why you said what you said. All right, on to the next one. Most famous celebrity from Houston. W. Kenny Rogers? Like the gambler? Patrick Swayze, Beyonce, or The Undertaker? Okay, let's eliminate the presidents because they're not celebrities, they're presidents. So let's take them out of it.
Okay.
I mean, objectively, it probably has to be Beyonce. But that wouldn't be my favorite.
Undertaker.
Dalton. Swayze. Come on. Guy was
The
Dalton. Pain don't hurt.
Undertaker. He had one of the greatest streaks in the history of sport.
Pain don't hurt, man. Come on. Dude, he saved the town. He saved the town. What do you want? You eliminated the threat.
We don't have to agree. We can have two famous. We can have two people that we.
I
care
can't
about.
believe that Kenny Rogers isn't even in the context here for this.
The last eye lift was a bridge too far.
Beyonce's just so number one on this list in terms of world.
Yeah, she's iconic.
Being world renowned. Yeah, not even close.
Yeah. All right. Here's our last one. If you had one day in Houston to check out the following, rank them how you'd see them from 1 to 4. It's a good job out of you, Gibby. The Texans, the Rockets, the Astros, or the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
I'd want to go back in time and watch WrestleMania 17 emanating from the Astrodome when it was still standing.
Well, that's where the Houston Livestock Show is typically at the Astrodome.
Haven't they
where that
imploded
is.
it? It's still there?
I don't think so.
We
can
it's
ask John
right next
McClain.
to
It's right next door,
to
but
the
I thought they got
stadium.
rid of it.
No, it's a
I don't think
National
so.
Historic Landmark.
Oh.
I think they're stuck with it.
Yeah, they still do like the rodeo. The rodeo is like the biggest thing that comes there.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I have always been, before the Astros were cheaters, I always thought that games looked cool in that park. I think that park is cool of them. I have no interest in the Rockets. I've always thought that they were bland. It still pains me that in '86 they eliminated the Lakers when I was a kid with Akeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson, Kenny the Jet Smith on that team. So no interest in them. And I think the Texans are kind of that way too, and they're really bad. They're going to be historically bad this year. We'll ask John McClain about that. Good job out of you giving on those. We'll ask John McClain. The General will join us up next. Going to get smarter coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. And Beau Bishop here for my friends at Weather Seal Home Services. Are you having problems with your roof? Call Weather Seal Home Services now and get a beautiful new roof in just 1 week for just $1 down and free gutters during the Weather Seal Spring Roofing Sale. At Weather Seal, you can also get up to 7 years, 0 interest with approved credit, reducing your monthly payment as well. Trust in Weather Seal to do the job right for the best price and the lowest monthly payments. It's as simple as that. They're the best. Don't call anyone else. Call them now, 877-351-SEAL, or go to weathersealhomeservices.com. And with that, we head on the hotline for one of the true legends in all of NFL media. He is the general. He is John McClain. He is gracious enough to join us. The NFL writer, of course, long time for the Houston Chronicle. And John, I guess Nathan and I were just talking about this in regard to the Deshaun Watson. And obviously, we're not around it day to day. So I guess I'll just a simple question with maybe a complicated answer. Where are we now?
Same place we were a month ago. Deshaun Watson still has the civil suits accusing him of sexual misconduct and assault that he's got them. The NFL's investigating. Those NFL investigations can take a long time. Police are investigating at least one case. The plaintiffs are about to be deposed sometime soon. If Watson's going to get deposed, it'll be next year. Nothing going on legally could keep Goodell from ruling on it at any point. I'm guessing he's not going to make a ruling anytime soon because it's such a complicated case with so many accusations, unprecedented in NFL history. And if he's suspended under the personal conduct policy next season, most people expect him to be. And Goodell could put him on the exempt list, which means he would get paid next season for not playing while the investigation continues. And I've been writing for months now that after the legal problems are resolved, the Texans plan to trade Watson to the team that gives them the best offer.
So you would say unequivocally that he has played his last snap as a Houston Texan?
Yeah, I've been saying that for months.
Wow. Do you get a sense that maybe Deshaun's camp, if that's the right way to say it, thinks that he will be playing anywhere in the NFL this year, or is it too premature to even speculate on?
Well, I think we don't have any idea. Number one, he could be, if there's legal issues were resolved, he could be traded before camp. He could be traded before the season, at the trading deadline in October, before next year's draft. Nobody has a clue. Anybody says they do is just making it up because we don't know. It's either going to play out in court or it's going to be resolved with settlements. We don't know. There's serious, disturbing accusations in those on those lawsuits, and I've read every word because they're on our website at HoustonChronicle.com, and this is such a complicated situation. Remember, Watson wanted to be traded. He threatened to sit out until he was traded, and the plan was to trade him before the draft because they had 8 teams that inquired that I know of. 6 might, I think, would have been really serious and get those teams bidding against each other. They thought they could get multiple 1s, multiple 2s, and a starter, and some of those teams now would no longer be interested, I'm guessing, because they addressed the quarterback need in the first round, but there's still a lot of teams out there that if they had Watson would be an instant playoff contender, or if it was the right team, they might be a Super Bowl contender.
John, if we can, let's take the and obviously it's difficult, but the unprecedented nature of the stuff surrounding Deshaun Watson out of it, the accusations that have been made. Before that, this train was headed off the rails, and if you go back a year ago, or even 2 years ago, I mean, my goodness, they draft a franchise quarterback, all this young talent. How did this get this bad this quickly?
At this time last year, they were coming off a 4th AFC South title in 5 years. They were coming off a playoff victory over Buffalo. They were coming off blowing a 24-point lead in the divisional round at Kansas City. At this time last year, nobody anticipated what was going to happen to the Texans in 2020 when they went straight down the toilet. And the first week of the season, right before regular season, Watson signed his extension, $156 million. That kicks in on 2022 when his base salary jumps from $10.5 million to $35 million. And he was happy. Everybody was happy. And they played a really tough schedule, and they lost 9 close games, including one at Cleveland. And horrific weather. They fumbled inside Indianapolis's 2 in the final seconds in 2 losses. They lost at Tennessee in overtime. They had 9 one-score losses. The year before, they were 8-3 in one-score games. They had players injured. They had players suspended. Watson was fabulous, set career highs in every statistic, but it didn't translate into victories because they were next to last in rushing. They were last in run defense, 30th in defense. Defense was terrible. They had problems in the offensive line they didn't have in 2019. And a lot of that, I think, had to do when Bill O'Brien was given the power over personnel. Like he traded Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney and J.J. Watt's last season together, Watt had 16 sacks, Clowney had 9 because Watt had Clowney take some of that attention away. And then when they traded Clowney and didn't get very much for him, that was just the first. That was after the 2018 season. They let Tyrann Mathieu get away to Kansas City. They let their popular and effective nose tackle, DJ Reader, walk and go to Cincinnati. And so they made a lot of personnel decisions that backfired. And last year, they had a really tough schedule, the toughest I've seen in 45 years of covering the NFL, and they couldn't handle it. And so they went straight down the tubes, and now, they fired O'Brien after an 0-4 start, and now they've started over with a new general manager, a new coach. They have 50 new players on their roster right now, including 42 veterans.
Yeah, and about a dozen former Cleveland Browns on the roster as well. And, John, that kind of brings me to my question, which is what is the franchise's goal for this year? Because – you mentioned we don't know about Watson. It sounds like he's done as a Texan, so we can frame it in that light. Why are they the oldest roster in the NFL if they are in the midst of what looks like it could be a massive rebuild?
It is a massive rebuild, and Nick Caserio, the new general manager, came from New England after 20 years, the last 13 as personnel director. He came in with new coach David Culley, and they've told us they're all about competition at every position. Everybody expects them to be the worst team in the NFL, maybe the first 0-17 team. And what I think is, if you're going to be bad, be the worst, so you can get the high pick. They haven't had a first round pick the last 2 years and 3 of the last 4 because of Bill O'Brien trades, and then a trade with Cleveland that included Deshaun Watson in 2017, and they didn't have a 2 this year. Next year they'll have their draft choices. They'll have at least 1, maybe 2 number 1 picks for Watson. And so to me, that's the big rebuild, the barometer. They'll have more salary cap money, as will every team. This year they didn't spend much money on the cap. Nick Caserio's philosophy, bring in free agents on 1- and 2-year contracts and let them compete, see if any of them can get extensions. A lot of them used to be starters and were hurt last year, and some played better with their first team, not well with the second team. Some have bounced around. So they have signed a lot of veterans to try to be competitive at most positions. I think there's only 7 positions on this roster that I think are set as far as starters. Everything else is up for grabs.
Wow. That's incredible. John, who's the boss? Is Nick Caserio the boss?
Nick Caserio has it in his contract, power over all personnel. He has a 6-year, $30 million contract, incentives for $5 more million. He makes every decision on personnel. A guy named Greg Grissom was promoted to the president when Jamie Roots, the longtime president, resigned. So he runs the business side, and Caserio runs the football side.
So real quick follow-up to that. What was the trigger point that, not the off-field stuff with Deshaun, but before that when he demanded the trade? Because as you mentioned, he signed the contract extension the previous season. What was the trigger point that pushed him from as happy as can be to I want out?
Well, first of all, I think the losing got to him, and at the end of the season when he had his Zoom with us, and it was a long one, he said at the time that he had met with the owner, Cal McNair, and Cal was going to keep him up to date on the head coaching search. And we asked him twice about the GM search. He kept talking about the head coaching search. So I think he knew that they were in for a long rebuild. and I think he didn't want to be part of it. J.J. Watt told us he didn't want to be part of a rebuild. He's gone to Arizona. And so all these players they've let go, like Will Fuller, they went to Miami, those guys should be sending them Christmas cards. They're in a much better situation. And so the first time we heard anything about his discontent was when they hired Caserio on March the 7th. And there wasn't a personnel director more deserving of being a GM than Caserio, who had technically failed to get him twice when the Patriots would not let him interview. Other teams had tried. This year, because of the new rule, he was allowed to leave, and he interviewed, I think, with Carolina and Houston that I know of. So when they hired him, Watson put out a text that said something like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I thought he meant by going back to the New England well, where Bill O'Brien had come from, where Jack Easterby, Executive VP of Football Ops, had come from, James Lippert, Director of College Scouting, had come from. And so I thought he was talking about that, and he quickly deleted it. And then the next thing you know, it's leaked to the national media by sources close to Watson that he wanted to be traded. And then the you-know-what hit the fan.
Yep.
And so from that point on, he would not communicate with any of them. And they didn't know he wanted to know about the GM. They thought it was a coach. Well, the time Caserio interviewed 5 candidates and hired David Culley, they had not communicated with Watson. He didn't get back to him, but he did talk to David Culley, and Culley told him that he was going to be the centerpiece of the rebuild and how much they loved him and wanted him. And Watson told him he was respectful. He said, I just don't want to be there. I want to be gone. I'll do this, this, and this. And so that's when, at that point, when Culley went back to Nick Caserio and Cal McNair, talked to them, they made the decision that they would trade him because a lot of teams had started calling. They weren't listening to him. And after free agency was over, the initial wave, somewhere around April 1st, they would start negotiations. But then all the civil suits started being filed. 22 was the final tally as we have it now. One withdrew, and an extra one, the 23rd, talked to Sports Illustrated, but is yet to file anything. So all the teams withdrew. They still were interested, but they wanted to wait to see what a resolution was. And I don't think, if he got the lawsuit part behind him, resolved, and I don't think investigation by Roger Goodell would impede a trade, because no matter how long he was suspended, he would still come back eventually, and he could play another 12 to 14 years.
Right. I have a question, because we went through some lean times and rebuilds, and before last year, it really been a long time since the Cleveland Browns had won. The Texans had been a pretty solid franchise for a while, and now they seem to be heading into a tough period. And Deshaun Watson obviously was their most marketable star after J.J. Watt, and he's gone, and DeAndre Hopkins before him, and he's gone. What's the state of the fan base? What's kind of your pulse on where the Texans stand with their fans right now?
As I say, you can't lose hope if you don't have hope. And right now, most people think they're going to be terrible, when one of the things we emphasize is they should get the first pick in the draft. You don't want to screw around and win 3 or 4 games and it costs you. You want to do like the Jaguars. If you're going to win one, lose the last 15. Now, the most important thing this team has to achieve this year is they have to watch third-round pick Davis Mills, quarterback. At some point, they need to watch him extensively, because odds are he's not going to be the guy. He only started 6 games last year. He only started 11 at Stanford. Should have stayed in school another season, but he came out. They took him with their first pick, 67th overall in the 3rd round. And after the first 9 games, they have a bye week. Then they play the last 8. And I'm saying that's when he ought to get that 8-game look. And they will have seen him for 8 starts. They will have seen him in the off-season program, locker room, practice field, and they should have an idea. Can he be the guy? If he can, that would have a huge impact on the 2022 draft. If he can't, then they need to target a quarterback with their first pick.
John, it is always a pleasure talking to you. Before I turn it back over, I just want to say, take good care of our friend Money Mitch down there. I think you will very much enjoy talking to him. You'll love him. He was one of our favorites here with the Browns, and excited to see what he can do down there in Houston. But I think you'll enjoy anytime you get a chance to talk with him.
We will, and I can't wait for the chance where we can actually talk to a lot of players again without all these restrictions we have because of COVID-19.
John, it's such a privilege to have you.
Yes.
We enjoyed that thoroughly, and thank you for your time today, sir.
Well, I did too, guys. Thank you very much. I'll be seeing you again this season, and good luck to the Browns. I hope they have a great off season. And I always say, as someone who's covered the NFL when the Browns were good, bad, good, you know, the heartbreak of the losses to Denver, and the NFL is better and more interesting when the Browns are good. Thank you guys very much.
He's the best. That is the legendary John McClain. He's the general. He's the NFL writer for the Houston Chronicle. And if you're wondering, if you're saying to yourself, boy, that at some point there's going to be a really interesting 30 for 30 in terms of what happened with Deshaun Watson, you don't need one because you just heard it.
Yes.
That's it. You just got it.
Yeah.
That was it.
He will be prominently involved, by the way, if there is one.
Yes. Yeah. That's something like do all those dates.
It's wild.
When every single issue. It's amazing. Like, that's how, folks, and we know here, you don't need to be told here by some dude on the radio, but that's how slippery the slope is.
Yep.
In professional sports. That's how quickly you can go from, I had forgotten that they were up 24 on Kansas City. I knew that they beat Buffalo, but I forgot they were up 24 on Kansas City in the divisional round.
Yes.
You go from that to 0-17 in play in a year.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've seen that's as big a fall.
2019 playoffs. And now it is just obliterated. It's wild.
It really is. It really is. And I still think that however this Watson stuff shakes out, like this, it's a forgiving land, and he's young. He's young, and I do think they'll get I think they'll end up getting a nice return from him. Not what it would have been, certainly, but I do think they'll get a nice return. Still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If your game plan for this season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. What are the results of the Ohio lottery poll, Gibbe?
Boy, while you guys were wrapping up with the general, it got real interesting. With 2 minutes to go, it was within 1%.
That's right.
1%?
Yeah. It was almost too close to call, but then there was a surge in the last 2 minutes. Travis Tritt is your winner going into the weekend with 52.1%. Rebecca Black, 47.9%.
If the poll was which song is better, I would be fine with it. But it is not a good nothing about Friday night screams. I got rice in the microwave.
You're worried about the minutia as opposed to the mindset.
That's the story he's telling.
It's a great day to be alive.
The mindset.
It's
a
great day to be alive.
I'm going to microwave rice?
You're not worried about Mike. You're reading it literally. It's a mindset.
2 minutes.
It's down.
Take me into
tough
the mind.
Spot. It's a great day to be alive. It's not. I would acknowledge that it is not the best representation of Country Friday. And I was thinking of like Dixieland Delight would probably be that.
If you're
Chicken
talking about
fried by
cold
Zach
beer,
Brown.
steak on the grill, I got some bourbon on a rock. Like, okay, I got rice in the microwave. Woo! Let's go, baby.
It's hard times.
Travis is going nuts.
You don't know hard times. You're a life of privilege in the Bay Area for you.
I've dined with kings and queens, and I've slept in alleys, eating on pork and beans, Daddy. I know about hard times.
Just right on it. Sometimes I like to give one to you on a tee. I just like, even in the fairway. I'll tee it up in the fairway for you.
When my shoulder was an issue, I had to do that.
If you thought it was bad before, I'm going to be on a tee in the fairway all summer, boys. The way this is going, if I can swing again.
You're going to need a tee to prop you up.
You're not wrong. Feel like the ambassador. It's not good.
No.
It's not good at all, kids. Hey, folks, have yourselves a great weekend. We are back on Monday for more fun.